Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a quick review of this guy right here. So this is a Direware Solo, specifically a non-flipper. And this one never got an unboxing because this was a gift. Sorry about just moving something over. This was a gift. This was a particular, this was a wedding gift from my wife, so there is a sentimental value to it at the same time as just being a knife that I was really trying to get a hold of, this style of knife, this particular model, but also this kind of stylish look, this non-flipper version that colors every scenario or every particular aspect of this that I was really looking to getting, but for many reasons, obviously I couldn't. There were just some things, obviously, with some things that were taking priority when it comes to what was needed to be purchased and all that stuff. But before we get too far into it, please subscribe, please follow the Instagram, like the Facebook page. We'll go ahead and get into it first with some size comparisons here. This is a full-size knife. Now, it's not a, what I would say as a large folder, but it is a big folder. It is a full-size knife. So to basically kind of get that in perspective, it's a 3.5-inch blade. It's actually 6.4 ounces, so it is decently heavy. This is actually carbon fiber. It's actually very particular, unique carbon fiber. It goes by a few different names: copper, carbon fiber. It goes by, I don't know how you pronounce this, but it's spelled UNICF or carbon fiber. I don't know if that's like an acronym or if that's a actual word, but regardless, it's a very particular carbon fiber. Obviously you can tell it has some redness in it, and the pivot is also a copper pivot, so there's copper right there in the middle and silver on the edges. This is a bronze anodized standoffs. This is a red titanium bronze lock face with a little bit of bronze accent in the very middle of the pivot. The blade is 20 CV. You can kind of see right down there. It's a recurve tanto with a acid stone wash finish, and the edge is definitely a mirror edge. Very, very, very well done. It's a compound grind. You can kind of tell. This is like going to be a little bit thicker. This is thinner, and this will 100% shave hair. We will not get into that at all. I'm not going to do that, especially on camera, but this is very, very unique. It's definitely going to be more of an overview, mainly because you can't necessarily get this exact one on the market because these are all customs. You can order one very similar to this if you want to directly from Direware. That's a whole different story. And I can obviously, if you want to know how to get a hold of one or how to talk to them, I can obviously send you their Instagram or go to their website. I have their email if you need to get direct contact, stuff like that. But like, these guys run between 1,000 to 13,000 and up. as customs, so they are up there in price. But if you're already in that realm of customs, this is going to be a pretty reasonable price, but also a pretty, especially if you're in this style of knife. It's kind of hard to say no, and definitely very unique, and it's not something that's gonna like shock you. So anyways, so another Direware, this is an S90. This is a flipper. And as you can tell, it is smaller. So this is about a 3-inch blade. This is a 3.5-inch blade. And to be honest, when it comes to ergos, both have decent ergos. I would definitely say the Solo has better ergos. It just fits in the hand better, though it's because it has a bigger handle, has great fit. You can also choke up here if you need to. This is not just for show. You can use the finger hole for reverse flicks. It's sometimes hard to get, but it's especially hard to get with doing this in front of a camera. It's a little bit harder to get that angle. And it is a very heavy detent, but a good detent. So you can hear it click, it flies out there. But also it has fantastic action. Drop shot. This is one knife I do not really hand to people unless I'm just showing it to them to just kind of look at. Another thing on top of it is most people, when I hand this to them, cannot open it because of the detent. Now, they often will just go to that. That's fine, that works too. But they often can't get the angle to get it open unless there's someone that knows a lot about knives and detents and how to use thumb studs. Then you're talking about they're more likely. But most people cannot get it on the first couple tries until I kind of show them how to open this one. And that's just how this one kind of works. It's for that enthusiast, for that person that's into knives, collecting, using, have been doing it for a while. They're going to know how to operate it. Your average Joe probably not, but this is also something you wouldn't hand to your average Joe anyways. So this is a very beautiful piece, both in the type of titanium we got here, in the pivot, and also the carbon fiber. Definitely one of my favorite carbon fibers I've ever come across. And another size comparison, let's just do an XM18. As you can tell, they're the same blade size. This camera's at a little bit of an angle, so it's kind of hard to tell, but they are right now butt up tip to tip here. And you can kind of tell, especially with the thumb studs, that how they line up, they're pretty darn exact. They're both 3.5-inch blades. What's interesting is the XM18 has a larger handle. Not necessarily larger hand room, but larger handle. It does butt up a little bit. In fact, the Direware is slightly lighter than this guy right here. We're going to talk about thickness here. Let's just compare it to something here. As you can tell, the Direware is decently thicker, but it is very thin behind the edge, especially with how they do the edge. It is very thin. In fact, it is definitely thinner behind the edge than than the Dark Horse here, which does slice very well. And so this slices. You're not gonna have an issue with this slicing. Now, because of the type of grind, I would not recommend getting it dull unless you know exactly how to sharpen a recurve tanto, especially one like this. It is not easy. But again, enthusiast over here, you're gonna not necessarily want to use this one a ton, just here and there. It's definitely a showpiece. A one for me specifically is one I carry every single day, specifically because it was a gift and it's one that I've been looking for a long time. And is definitely in my top 3 of best folders I've ever had, but in ergonomics and in looks and in function. A lot of people think, well, this has no function. This cannot be a good user. But I can guarantee you that if you actually use this, you actually were someone to handle it and use it, choke up, to actually carve something with it, or to open a box, tip is strong. It's very durable, and also with this second tip here, because it is a Tanto recurve, you're going to be able to open a box or cut anything very well. In fact, I was shocked at how well this cuts and how well it would be a fantastic user. And on to another one. Let's just do a Spyderco Shaman. That way you can kind of get a good size comparison with something like this. Very similar blade size. Overall, the Shaman is slightly smaller. And even with the cutting edge, you're slightly more cutting edge in the Direware. And believe it or not, the Direware size is better than the Shaman. Now, another good one. Benchmade 940. Similar scenario. Direware, slightly larger blade, not by much, but definitely noticeable. A longer handle, you have more really room to work with it and be able to grasp up and down because of how this is right here. You can choke up more, you have more opportunity to put your hand in different areas. Though this is heavier, again, not for everybody. This is decently heavier than your 940. You actually have very similar cutting edges, though this has a longer blade, but because you can choke up on it, that kind of takes up a little bit more of the cutting edge, but you still have similar cutting edges between these two. And this one, actually, I would even say is thicker behind the edge of the Direware. But that's all we have for overall size comparisons, except for one other thing I will do is a thickness. That might surprise a lot of people right there, is that it's not a ton thicker. And this is 940, which is known as a thin knife. Known for being very pocketable, very pocket friendly. And here, it's the same thickness, if not maybe slightly thinner than an XM 18 3.5 inch. Now the crazy thing is, if we're doing pocket carry, let's just kind of do this. Now obviously, it's going to be less friendly. Kinda. Why do I say kinda? Because the flipper tab. Yes, the XM18 is overall thinner when it comes to the body. But when you also add the flipper, and you can compare them, let's do this side by side. They're not a ton different. Like, you can look down here, I'll line them up. There's maybe, I don't know, less than like a quarter of an inch difference, which is kind of shocking. But again, like if you're talking about full body and full like taking of the pocket, this definitely takes up way more. But the thing with this is, if you're carrying this, you're not going to put something else in that pocket. So why worry about it? Why worry about how much pocket space it is taking up when you know you're not going to put anything else in the same pocket as this? It's just not going to happen for various reasons. You're not going to want something to scratch it, or it scratch something else. You're not going to, knowing that it will probably contact something else. And that is what it is. I mean, this is not something you want to have to put in a pocket where you can put other things. This takes up the whole pocket, but it's not ashamed of that. It's supposed to take up the whole pocket. It's designed to take up one of your pockets completely, to be to ride the line of tank, super durable, but also pocketable, be a little bit thinner than you expect, durable, with a good amount of lockup, not too little, but enough to be very secure. There's no play, no lock up issues at all. Flies out open, closes super smoothly. I mean, it is probably the smoothest overall knife I have, with little to no resistance. I mean, it's smooth. And I mean, you could easily put on more like lubrication and get it even smoother, or change up lubrication if you want to. I don't see a reason to. It's just smooth enough, and I don't want it to be drop shut for various reasons. I mean, with how it is, you can drop it and it'll be fine. It won't actually catch you, as you can tell. So it really doesn't need to be any smoother. The backstop of this actually does not hit at all. So it hits here, but that's just the stop there. And you can see that indent right there for that way. It completely folds in, and there's no lock rock. But even with how strong the detent is, you're not going to get that. In fact, you do have an insert here. And if you look closely right here, you can kind of see it right back there. They do have an over travel stop right there. A little bit different spot, but it's in the spot where it's going to be the strongest it can and overall help out the lock the most. And you can actually see that the insert has screws. It can take it in and out when taking it apart, or whenever like you have to send it in for maintenance. If you ever have to, you can just take it out, put a new one in, and you're good to go. That's one thing that's really nice about inserts, is where you can easily take them in and out and continue to use your knife without having lock issues. And so, is this knife for everybody? No, that's for sure. But is it for that person that likes customs, that likes the more expensive, more specific folders that are just different? Yes. And not everybody will like this, and that's okay. That's fine. It's not meant for everybody. It's meant for those specific people that like this design, especially those who like recurves. It's a beautiful grind. That's the reality of it. And Direware is known for those weird grinds that are just unique, yet in a beautiful way, and also having different materials on their knives, like this type of carbon fiber. But either way, would I recommend Direware as a maker and as a brand? Yes, 100%. If you're looking for a American made knife or American maker that is unique, what makes really well made knives, flat out some of the best, and likes to be different, but also at the same time very capable and very utilitarian, 100%. Direware is one of the best out there, and one of the most unique folders It's really hard to go wrong. You just gotta find out the exact model that you want, size, and all that stuff, and go from there. But I would definitely 100% recommend this knife, or well, at least Direware in general, and the Solo specifically for anybody that's looking for a full-size folder that's unique and has good ergonomics and is very useful. That's gonna be it for this one. You guys have a great rest of your day.